Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Welcome back to another Coquina Cowboys. I have Longo's clone with me today. Seth, what's up, dude?
What's happening, dude? Oh, I gotta turn off the volume over there. Just hanging out, you know. I'm don't worry, guys, I'm not replacing Dr. Longo.
Yes, you are. We're hacking his channel. We're actually going live without his consent, so he'll find out as soon as he sees it. But we're here, and we're gonna be talking about the Waterboy, which you told me you saw the original like screening of it, or what?
Oh yeah, I saw this in the theaters when it came out. I was 12 years old in 1998, so I was a middle schooler. You know, perfect age, probably 6th grade or something like that. And it was just a perfect age to see all the Adam Sandler movies. Very quotable, very hilarious. Like we were quoting it the next day on the bus. That was kind of I remember that time. So yeah, Adam Sandler movies definitely was there for them all coming out and shaped the culture a little bit of my generation. And we're all better off for it. Or are we?
Yeah, what's the daddy movie that he came out with? A Big Daddy or something? What
Big Daddy was that? Or Big Daddy? I don't remember. Little Nicky.
Yeah, Big Daddy was 1999. Little Nicky. I remember maybe seeing this one when I was growing up, but this was actually the first time I saw the Waterboy. And when Narco had hit me up, he's like, "Yeah, let's do the Waterboy." I'm like, "Bro, what? Like, why?"
Well, because I was recently looking for full movies on YouTube because I have a YouTube Premium. I can just watch movies on YouTube. I haven't found many good ones, but I did see the Waterboy on there. I clicked on it. I was just kind of reliving it and reminiscing, and I see the Colonel Sanders character, the teacher, and I'm like, holy shit. And so I immediately start thinking of Old World Florida and all the work he's been doing with the fast food conspiracy and the KGC. So I'm like, this is definitely connected. You know, it's a very Southern movie. Well, actually, the Old World Florida had mentioned the Waterboy before on the channel. I don't know if anyone remembers this, but it came up in a conversation on Radium. It might have even been like the 8/8 Radium birthday. It was with Analog. You guys were talking about the Waterboy as a potential Radium thing, like Gatorade. We know Gatorade. Something's in the water in Florida, y'all. You know, what are they feeding these football teams to make these football teams all be the best in the land? You know, so there's a Radium question there. There's a water question there, and so the whole Gulf. This is takes place in Louisiana. Was filmed in Florida. Busted. So if I'm not mistaken, this movie was filmed in Florida.
Yes,
it takes place in Louisiana, but it's all the same 30th parallel type of latitude and climate and vibe. And I mean, maybe not totally. It's a little more swampy there in the bayou at the end of the Mississippi, but yeah, let's get into it. Oh yeah, so I, Dr. Longo, I was just introducing the idea that you guys had mentioned this movie on your show before during a Radium episode, tying into Gatorade and that whole thing.
Yes.
So maybe do you want to kick us off there, and then I don't know where we'll go with this. There's a lot to talk about with phrenology and all that stuff too.
He
doesn't eat meat though, right?
Here's a good comment.
Seth doesn't eat meat.
No, Seth eats less meat than Dr. Longo.
Longo eats another kind of meat, not the animal kind, but another kind.
No, yeah, I think I've been vegetarian longer, but he's a more extreme form of vegetarian right now. So
fruitarian, isn't it? What do you call it?
Yeah, like a casual fruitarian, meaning mostly fruit, plant based.
Yeah.
No dead animals for sure.
Well,
So
that's funny. Yep, we got Dr. Cumstein here, Mr. Mitch Cumstein from the One on One podcast, and then we have my astrological twin. We have
fucking
Seth.
butt homunculus over here.
Seth Balin, a Louisiana, wasn't born there, right? You
Transplant.
weren't born there. Transplant. That's the word. So he's our resident Louisiana expert, and Seth is joining us because he actually got me he made me aware that there is some kind of deep gopher holes in this movie. We say gopher hole on this channel, not rabbit hole. Okay. Rabbit holes are for chumps. Rabbit holes are for they're any NPC can fall into a rabbit hole. Okay. Gopher holes. This is real schizo hour here. Okay.
It's not
We're
too bad.
going full schizo. No, just kidding.
What's phrenology? I don't know what that is. What is that?
Well,
Or start wherever you want to start.
Here.
But
Here. Yeah, you guys got started. I just want to say I grew up watching this movie a little. My friends growing up loved this movie. It grew on me over time. I was more of a Jim Carrey guy growing up. That's the
yes.
you kind of pick one side or the other, right? It's kind of Coke or Pepsi on them too. You're either an Adam Sandler or a Jim Carrey guy. And Adam Sandler's a Florida local. I don't think he was born here, but he certainly spends a ton of his time in Palm Beach County. In Boca Raton, of course. I think his mom lives down here, and he's always with his mom and his family. He's very famous for that.
Mama said.
Yes. So that part of the movie's somewhat true. I know that. But yeah, we'll run through the movie. But to your question, Juan, what is phrenology? Phrenology is the study of skull shape.
Oh wow.
And as it relates,
pseudoscience, bro.
Yeah, as it relates to like racial differences, ... words like superiority might come
You're either
up.
a nice guy or not. Right?
And that's kind of it. Phrenology. Let's say this. Germany was a big fan of phrenology in the 1930s and 1940s. Let's just say that. And phrenology goes hand in hand with, I guess, what we could call physiognomy, or being, paying attention to physiognomy, face reading of the face. People read wrinkles on the face. People read freckles and birthmarks. People read all different types of things, your palm, all this. And this was more of a science than it was like a divinatory kind of thing, quote unquote science. But it would be looked at in terms of individuals, which wasn't that bad of a thing, right? That's kind of just more like your palm reading type of deal. What really got this kind of science in hot water was how it was used racially to like point out differences in the races. So that's why phrenology is kind of like a no-no today. Is number one, it points out differences in the races, so they kind of they like to tell us, oh, we're all the same. We're all 100% the same. And phrenology is kind of an affront to that kind of philosophy that we're all the same biologically. We're not all the same biologically, Some races have higher heel bones than others, much higher. Some races have, or groups, it doesn't have to be a race thing, but different pockets of genes in different corners of the world. Some people are prone to having less ribs, less vertebra. Some people are prone to having less, and this is like a thing that's passed down in families and different regions, right? So there's trends across races that
Like Puerto Rican steal and lie.
no,
Things like
he's a
that.
Puerto Rican.
Yeah, they have that stealing gene within their lineage.
Well, yeah.
The dads of certain races don't come back from the store. Things like that. Are passed down genetically. So I feel you, dude. I feel you.
It led to a lot of beliefs like that and things like that. But
Stereotypes.
there's also some truth to it and some interesting things to be gleaned. But yeah.
Well, and with the study of the skull shape comes the shape of and size of the brain. And that kind of plays into the movie where they're talking about the layers of the brain, the brain stem, and all this stuff. And it's basically the doorway into studying consciousness, not just like the physical characteristics. Oh, mine's shaped like an oval, yours is a circle. It's more like, how does that affect your intellect, your thought, the way you live and move about the world? Are you reptilian? That's a whole other theme in this movie in a way is that reptilian brain stem and why are they so ornery, and is it because they have all those teeth and not enough toothbrushes and no toothbrush or whatever? So
the medulla oblongata, whatever it was that he was saying.
Right.
Well,
I don't want to dish all the gravy yet.
We gotta catch people up.
Let's get it cook.
But Juan, you asked what's phrenology. Let's break it down for people a little bit. Okay,
I'm learning about this right now, dude. So
the title is The Waterboy, 1998, Exposed. Exposed. Fountain of Youth, Phrenology, and Colonel Sanders. There's a whole lot more we could have fit into that title, but that's kind of, I think, the points that I wanted to jump on the most. So the movie's about water, as you can tell. It's about special water. It's about the importance of water. Right there, you see different types of water, right?
I just noticed
distilled spring water, rainwater, housed in stainless steel, it looks like, right? That's a good choice. Okay. And our main character, Adam Sandler, he is Bobby Boucher. And Bobby Boucher is the water boy of a college football team. Now, what you notice right away is he is like special needs. I don't know if autistic is the right word or if he just has a speech impediment and he's got a bad stutter for sure. He's somewhat slow, but we also find out he's pretty sharp, right? Especially compared to the people that he's with around him. Adam Sandler plays the water boy. He's underappreciated. He cares a lot. He's like, you saw the state-of-the-art water equipment and stuff. He gets kicked off the team and he has to kind of go back home disgraced. And he lives with his mom, or I guess, he's a big mama's boy. And his mom like kind of runs his life.
She's very oppressive.
Yeah. She's got red hair too.
There you go.
And this is all set in Louisiana, but it's filmed in Florida. So I should say that to start off too. The Water Boy was largely filmed in Florida. And it looks that way, certain scenes, you can tell. Growing up, I could even tell that. It looked a lot like Florida.
Yeah, the big oak trees and Spanish moss and stuff.
Yeah, and the cypress trees and stuff.
Yeah. Now, Adam Sandler, Bobby Boucher, the water boy, gets kicked off the team, goes back to his mom. We find out how oppressive she is. She's very religious and kind of superstitious in a way, and very, I don't know. She thinks everything's evil. She calls everything the devil. So anything she doesn't like, football, from the devil. Girls trying to date Adam Sandler, they're from the devil, and so on and so on. Later on, she says electricity is from the devil, things like that. Or Benjamin Franklin's
invented
the
devil.
it.
Yeah. And so Bobby, he doesn't know what he's going to do, but eventually he gets signed, or he joins another football team, right? And right here, he calls into a WWE star, and the guy makes fun of him. Right, he wants to be his Waterboy. He doesn't need one, but whatever. Also, he gets around on a tractor, which is pretty funny.
Well, can I jut in here about the him
Yeah.
being made fun of like on air when he calls in?
Go for it.
That's a big theme in this movie is being made fun of and shame and bullying, kind of, because like throughout the whole movie, he's always flashing back to as a kid, kind of being bullied by the coach or the team and the team, everybody, and his mom. You know what I mean? Everybody, and
Right.
and it's like you hear the line, "They're going to laugh at you. They're going to laugh at us." You hear that a lot. And I was telling Juan that before we were on that Adam Sandler had these CDs with skits on them, and one of them was even called "They're All Going to Laugh at You," and so that's just like a major theme of his comedy and dealing with shame and kind of how you overcome that. You know what I mean? So it also relates to young people when they see this movie. You can relate to that because people pick on them. It sucks, but yeah, I just want to interject that there.
Totes. Yeah, he gets picked on a lot for sure. I also thought it was funny. He's dressed. There's multiple times where he dresses almost, I don't want to say Miami Vice, but kind of Miami Vice, like baby blue suit
My suit, it was my daddy's.
with the pointed out, collar. And later on, he wears an orange one, just like it. People compliment him. We don't really. Yeah, it was his dad's. Exactly. So he gets on to another football team, talks to the coach, right? And the coach is having problems. The coach is like also a little bit schizophrenic, or he's stuck in some type of psychosis because he was, he had his manhood taken from him.
Yeah, he was
like
bullied, and
decades earlier.
and he's all covered in shame about that. So
Yeah, and
oh wait, and one more thing about the coach. Sorry, is
Yeah.
Coach Klein. Klein means small in German, so it's like this little inferiority complex.
it's
And
a go ahead. Sorry.
well, Coach Klein is kind of alliterative. Same with Bobby Boucher and Vicky Valancourt. So there's these rhythm and alliteration to the names, which I like.
Right. Good point. And speaking of the names, this is a very Brazilian movie. Okay, Klein is a German name. It's also a pretty well-known Brazilian name. Okay. Adam Sandler's Brazilian. Many people in this seemingly southern movie are Brazilian. Okay. And that may have to do with like some Civil War history. Might not, pretty much every movie that's made is full of Brazilians. So it's not like that's anything crazy, but you do notice a bunch of Brazilians playing like Southern people. Or why are they in the South, And that opens up the conversation that is kind of corroborated or validated later on when we see people like Colonel Sanders coming in. But that might point to like, Jewish Confederates, things like that. But because there is a big underlying like race discussion going on, or there's sneaky little kind of, how would I say it? Racial commentary, right? Like whites act like this, blacks act like this. And maybe they're trying to address something about Brazilians and how the races and groups interact in America. There's a very, believe it or not, in this movie. We're gonna see. You'll see the evidence and the signs. But Winkler, I think that's his name, right?
Henry Winkler, yeah.
Well, the guy talks like,
Yeah.
like you don't understand.
Henry Winkler, yeah.
And he kind of represents, because he played the Fonz in Happy Days way back in the day. It was like a high school show. So he played a high schooler, I think, and it kind of shows like the cool kid is going to become like the degenerate football coach at the end of the day if he doesn't get his life together.
Right. Right. You can look at it like that too. Now, he joins this other football team, but he's only the water boy at first, just like he was at the last school. But something happens and he gets pissed off. Someone really ticks him off. And he goes ballistic and loses his cool and really hurts one of the players on the football team. And we see his childhood flashback, you know, kind of the inspiration or the basis, you know, for his anger. And this guy hawks a loogie in his water that he's working so hard to keep clean, right? And that happened when he was younger too. So he takes
The water
out,
that they were being given was filthy. He's like, don't ever
Yeah.
give them anything like that ever again.
right? Yeah, he volunteers for the team because out of passion for clean water, because they were drinking such dirty water before. He says, "Screw it, I'll work for free. Let me do it."
And you know
But-
what? Like why he got into it too is his dad. He thinks his dad died
Yeah.
from dehydration in an expedition.
In the desert.
Yeah,
So this is him like
right.
feeling that karma or something.
And it turns out that wasn't entirely true,
Mm-mm.
right?
Yeah, it was a lie.
His mom's gaslighting him his entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah. His redheaded mom, also redheaded women. Redheads, guys. How many times is that coming up? Is she Wendy? I don't know. I'm not saying it. drop a tip in the chat. 1,000 tokens if you think if you think she's actually Wendy. But okay, only real schizos tonight. We got 400 in the chat. Thanks to everyone for showing up. Happy Thursday. Happy May 1st. We're talking Waterboy tonight with the Juan on Juan and Seth Balin. And we see the meal that his mom made for the coach, and it's like a big swamp rattlesnake. It's like as big as a python. Doesn't look like a snake that's even like native to the Southeast United States, maybe, but it's
Looks
humorously
like an
large.
anaconda to me.
Yeah. And the coach is there to persuade her to let him play football for the team. She doesn't let him play football. Him being a water boy was enough, like, was already really, you know, a tough kind of thing to persuade his mom to let him do. So the coach is there to persuade her, let him play. She shuts it down, and on his way out, the coach he moons Adam Sandler, right? And he's like, "Oh, my mom told me not to get a tattoo of Roy Orbison, I think."
Yeah.
And then when he walks out the door, he shows him that he actually did, you know. And the lesson is like, it's
What
okay
mama don't
to-
know.
Yeah. What
Mama don't know, don't hurt her. Yeah.
So he gets out, and he's fucking moth over here. He basically is like, okay, I'm gonna play football, right? And keep it going, Juan. I gotta see where we're going. Thanks. Yeah, don't show his butt. Don't show his butt.
Is it going to show? Hold on, let me take it off.
Yeah.
And this kind of adds to what Seth was saying about like the reptilian aspect of the movie, because first she cooks that snake and then she cooks alligator later on in the movie. And then when they were in the class with the Colonel Sanders, which we'll get there, I thought they were going to bring up, you know, how the reptilians, the reptiles have like that third eye sort of thing on top of their head, some of them.
Yep.
And I thought they were going to talk about, I think it's called the R complex or something, where you have the reptilian part of your brain. I'm sure you guys have heard that before, and that's like a whole.
Well, that is like the medulla oblongata, right?
I mean, I don't know.
Unconscious. Yeah, I believe so. It's unconscious.
The R
this
complex.
medulla oblongata is the lower part of the brainstem, and the R complex is the whole brainstem. I'm pretty
Oh,
sure.
here we go. Yeah. Sorry. Here in neuroscience, the term R complex refers to the reptilian brain, and it is also known as the reptilian brain or lizard brain, and is considered the most primitive part of the brain. This complex is primarily responsible for basic survival functions and instinctive behaviors. So yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right.
That's like that's the innermost layer of the brain. I see there being 3 layers. You have the R complex, which is the reptile brain. It's fight or flight. Then the second layer is sort of emotions, the limbic brain, and then there's an outer layer, the neocortex, and that's sort of what humans have. Excuse me, different than other mammals.
Mm.
So our brain is more evolved. The reptiles have just the innermost brainstem that just makes them vicious fight or flight creatures.
That's so anti-Semitic. I can't believe
Yeah,
you'd say,
antiseptic.
say
Dude.
that.
How dare you?
That was
Gators.
so. Well,
That was crazy.
alligators. You know, the thing about alligators is they always beat the allegations. Okay. The thing about crocodiles is they are always on time because they know how to clocodile. You know what I'm saying?
That joke of the night. So, and I
And
wanted to add too, right? Because I kind of called it retard strength. You know, it's like, oh, he's the mayor of Retardville or whatever it was that they like. Right, they weren't afraid to say the R word in this movie. Definitely, it was different times, right? They said it a few times in this movie, and it kind of reminded me what we were talking about a little bit earlier, before we started recording, about like the superhero that unlocks his superpower through trauma. And obviously, these are very. This movie is very transcendental, like a lot of flashbacks and states of mind of being able to visualize, you know, your mom telling you the Gatorade part, right? Gatorade's better than water, right? And seeing that and then using that to kind of control your reality in a way. And this is how he kind of sees it at the beginning when they're bullying him and he's telling him, hey, stand up for yourself. He was told something different than he had been told all his life, where he's like, no, I can't do anything. They're athletes, right? Blah blah blah. I can't do anything to them. They're specimens, whatever it was. And it's like, no, dude, stand up for yourself, or else they're gonna ride you this whole season. And that was the part where it clicked for him, and he unlocked essentially a superpower because he became their best player. So he went from zero to hero, like the typical underdog, you know, monomyth sort of thing, where it's the guy trying to go through the trauma or the gold at the end of the day or whatever it is.
also the Fonz, the character that he plays in the show. What show is it?
Happy Days?
Happy Days, yeah. He also does that. He convinces people to stick up for themselves a couple times. I don't know much about the show, but I have seen that. And I do know that about his character. His character plays like a almost like a fake tough bully, kind of like tough guy, greaser, you know. But yeah, so also his new teammates don't like him. They're hazing the crap out of him. They don't respect him. And they still call him Waterboy and stuff. But man, he hasn't gotten to the classroom yet, has he? He's just no,
that's
okay.
coming up.
That's where it gets. That's where it gets.
Well, so
real good.
he's got superhuman football abilities, which is what the coach discovered, because you know he tackled some dude for spitting in the water or offending him somehow, and so he showed that he had like super tackle, super speed, super jump abilities, and that kind of ties into the radium thing, too. It was like what's in the water down there at Jackson Bayou or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
But then you're mentioning the retard strength. That's the other aspect of it too, is like the brain. And it's so everyone in this movie's got a mental case. The mom's got brain pain. Bobby's got a stutter. He's slow. The coach had a mental breakdown. The team's all dumb and cross-eyed. The fans are dumb. And there's 2 fans in particular who keep saying super dumb shit. And it's just interesting when we're talking about the brain. This scene right here is a good transition into that, because like it's all about phrenology and the brain and consciousness ultimately, I think.
Yeah. I also noticed Adam Sandler's character, Bobby, he makes friends. Now, listen, don't grill me on any of this racist stuff, but I really do think there's like a racism component to this movie. And I don't want to pin it on you, Seth, but you kind of pointed it out to me to start. But I noticed that Adam's best friend, or like the only guy on the team who's like really willing to be his friend, is a black guy, right? And who knows? I don't know. I forget how many other black guys there are on the team, but it seems like most of the guys bullying him on the team are the whiter guys on the team, right? Who knows what they're trying to say? But he doesn't come across as the smartest character either. The guy that wants to be his best friend, and they have a lot in common. They talk about. But now we get to the best part of the movie, where it really heats up, where the gopher holes get really deep. This is where the good stuff is. Now we notice he's kind of wearing like a snake skin thing. We saw them eating a snake earlier. Who knows? That might mean something. But the teacher, can you go back to a shot of the professor, please? Yeah. So Seth called me or texted me a couple days ago and said, dude, Colonel Sanders is in The Waterboy. And I had seen The Waterboy when I was younger, but I didn't remember this much. I didn't remember this part. And yeah, he looks like Colonel Sanders. And then Adam Sandler even makes a joke and ends up calling him Colonel Sanders. Now it's kind of dumb to do that, right? Because they're kind of setting their own joke up like it's too easy. It's too lazy. It's like, if someone already looked like Adam Sandler's, that's another thing. Colonel Sanders, Adam Sandler, Colonel Sandler. What the hell? Okay.
Illuminati confirmed.
Bernie Sanders. Colonel Sanders. I can go all night, people. But he doesn't look that much like Colonel Sanders. They made him dress up like Colonel Sanders. Then we're like, oh, he looks like Colonel Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I mean? Like if it were just an extra in the movie and they're like improvising in the movie, that happens where an extra comes in and the main character just like riffs on the extra and is like, you look like Colonel Sanders, man. No, they made this guy dress up like Colonel Sanders. So this is in the script, is what I'm saying. They wanted Colonel Sanders to be in the movie. They wanted him to look like Colonel Sanders, and then they had to bring up him by name too.
Multiple times.
Deion Sanders, thank you. We're going to bring up Deion because Deion is a great kind of callback to Florida, like in a way. Radium, spring water, football, and radioactive excellence. Deion Sanders exhibits those. He's from Florida, grew up in the part of Florida that has the most radium in the groundwater, and he's the only NFL player, star football player in recent memory to play both directions, offense and defense. So he literally has like extreme Bobby Boucher superpowers. You got NFL players who are already tired and have to swap out, get substituted, playing one direction, playing just offense. They'll be dead as a dog, sick, tired, throwing up. I need some Gatorade, man. And someone will come substitute. Deion Sanders played both sides of the ball. That's extraordinary. And he was really good at both of them. I think he was better at defense, to my knowledge, but.
Did you see this comment? It's true. Sandler films are often sponsored by food franchises. Subway paid for Happy Gilmore. I remember that. And they say, I'm sure KFC paid for the spot in Waterboy.
Well, so KFC, right? This is playing more into the racial stereotype of, fried chicken enjoyers, watermelon enjoyers, that sort of thing, where, again, it might be playing into that role. Because out of all the people you could have, he obviously looks like Sanders or Colonel Sanders. Like you said, they didn't have to point it out, but they did. It might have been a marketing thing, or it could be another one of these gopher holes that it's got a deeper meaning because it's tied to, Wendy's and everything else. aside from all the stuff they put in the water, which in Florida allegedly they took the, that stuff out of the water allegedly. All the stuff that they put into the food, especially, and then all the connections we've talked about Sanders and all these other guys. I mean, it plays right into the KGC and everything else.
Yes. So there's not many overt, explicit KGC references. And hold up. Let's make sure everyone knows what the KGC is. This movie's filmed in the South. Set in Louisiana, filmed in Florida. The South, the Confederacy, right? The secret society that was behind the Confederacy was known as the Knights of the Golden Circle. They were like the South, the Confederacy's version of the Freemasons. And the Freemasons in the South became the Knights of the Golden Circle right before the Civil War and during the Civil War. Before that, they were known as the Order of the Lone Star. That's where we get Lone Star, like Texas, the Lone Star Republic. Well, Florida was the original Lone Star state. Not many people know that. It's the South's first flag. So all of the Confederacy, their first flag that all of the South went under was the Bonnie Blue. That's right, I said that. Bonnie Blue. Come on, guys.
Oh, dude, when you look it up, look what comes up, man.
Yep. They are.
Damn, it's a psyop.
It's a Disney Frozen all over again.
I'm afraid to scroll down.
They want you. I want you looking at this white star. They want you looking at her pink star. Okay. They want you
the brown
looking
star.
at brown star. They want you looking at Bonnie Blue. I'm trying to teach you about Bonnie Blue, and the Illuminati is doing everything they fucking can to
Illuminati
get you
confirmed.
gooning your brains out to this Bonnie Blue. This is what we're up against, people. We got censorship, and then we have Disney Frozen psyop porn stars running around, ruining all our hard work. Okay. That being said, no, just kidding. I'm not going to make that joke. That being said, Bonnie, hit me up. No, just kidding. Never. Disgusting. Soulless. Let's just rip on her for a sec. You know, she's like 23 years old. Dude, I thought she was 45. She looks so old. She looks 45 years. How old is she?
That's a lot of miles of wieners, dude, that you take to look like that. Here, I'll look up how old she is.
Tell me the Illuminati didn't pump her out of a fucking Cabbage Patch test tube with Dr. Longo's YouTube channel programmed into her fucking...
She was born in 99. She's 25.
25 years old. Chick looks like she's 45. That's being nice. She looks ugly and basic. Skinny.
Yeah.
No tits, no ass.
Yikes.
Get out of here. Okay. That's Bonnie Blue for you. Bonnie Blue is the name of a porn star who recently banged
1,057 dudes.
And why are we talking about her? Because she's named Bonnie Blue. What does Bonnie Blue mean to me originally? It's the Bonnie Blue flag. It's the original blue Lone Star flag that the Confederacy it's the original Confederate flag that they don't tell you about. It was originally the flag of West Florida. West Florida. The people in West Florida, when Texas was still part of Mexico, they were there were some English speakers, German speakers, people in Mexico who were getting kicked around, bullied, right? It was riflemen and militiamen from West Florida who flew the Bonnie Blue flag and went over to Texas and fought off the Mexicans. That's where we get Texas. that's pretty much where we get Texas from, as we know it. They saved the day. Yeah, this is before the Alamo, I believe. It was like 1810. I forget when the Alamo was, but I think it was a little later. And so the Lone Star flag was this symbol that much of the South rallied around. And when the Civil War broke out, the Order of the Lone Star, the secret society behind the South, hate to break it to you, but this Lone Star is Lucifer. The Lone Star 5-pointed pentagram is Lucifer, especially the planet Venus being kind of personified or identified with Lucifer. 5-pointed star, that's the path that Venus makes in the sky through her cycles. Right? So the Lone Star in the South is Lucifer. Albert Pike talked a lot about this, talked about Lucifer, and talked about but yeah, so Albert Pike is believed to have been kind of a head honcho behind the scenes. We know he was a Freemason, but how much was he involved in the Order of the Lone Star and the Knights of the Golden Circle, the KGC? Well, when Lincoln was assassinated, all the members of the crew, right, the conspirators who helped or had a hand in his assassination, they were all of them, members of the KGC. So believe what you want, that he was assassinated and it was a conspiracy, or it was staged or faked or, orchestrated in some other way. Doesn't matter. Regardless, they were all members of the KGC. No matter how it went down, we do know they were all members of the KGC. John Wilkes Booth definitely was a member. We know for sure. Well, the KGC, like I said, they were the Order of the Lone Star. Juan, can you go back to the movie? Can you go to the part where it's like at the beginning, I think when we see his house for the first time, there's a sign with a crawfish. A sign with a crawfish and a Lone Star on it. Yeah, it's like before we see his house.
I think it's around here somewhere.
Oh, right there. Yeah,
this thing right here.
Yep. What do we see on Louisiana?
Hold on.
Because remember, West Florida, guys, the West Florida that they used to call West Florida, today that's East Louisiana. They call them the Florida parishes to this day. Right, Seth?
Look at the license plate. You could definitely tell this is a Florida license plate with the orange in the center there.
Good point. Yeah.
Let me pull up the picture here real quick.
Are you muted, Seth?
Not anymore. What was your question?
I was saying the Republic of West Florida. It was known as West Florida back then. Now it's Louisiana. That's the horizontal line in Louisiana, the 31st parallel. That used to be the Florida Panhandle, went all the way to the Mississippi River. Now we call the eastern portion of Louisiana the Florida parishes. The Florida counties. They have parishes instead of counties. But those eastern portion of Louisiana, southeastern, is called the Florida parishes. Now, what do we see on the sign right there on Louisiana, in southeast Louisiana? And yes, it could be the capital city, but there's usually a star on capital cities on maps a lot of the time. Well, it's also the Lone Star, right where the Florida parishes pretty much extend to. That's the Lone Star, because it was the Republic of West Florida, which is today Louisiana, parts of Alabama, and the Florida Panhandle, who went over and created this Lone Star movement. Esoterically speaking, behind the scenes, behind the curtain, that's Lucifer. Regardless, it was a symbol for Southern pride and American pride, right? Sticking up for America, sticking up for English speakers. And the Order of the Lone Star, that was their number one symbol. Now, when they become the Knights of the Golden Circle, they start kind of putting the Lone Star to the side a little bit. Doesn't go away. But they start revering, venerating the crescent. The crescent. And this isn't the crescent moon. It's also Venus, who is a crescent through a telescope much of the time. Venus has phases, just like the moon. And you can zoom in on this. This isn't a NASA thing. This isn't a PSYOP thing. Yeah, anyone can see this with a high-power telescope. Venus has phases, so it's very often presenting itself as a crescent. Venus is the crescent star. So when you see a lone star and a crescent, hello, Islam. It's not the crescent moon, people. It is Venus. Why does Islam worship on Friday? Same reason. The synagogue of Satan worships on Saturn Day. Venus is Freya, is Isis, is Aphrodite. That's Friday. Islam, Isis, Lam, right? The Lamb of Isis, whatever you want to call it. Islam originally venerated the goddess, originally venerated a female kind of vibe, energy. Now they're fully in the other direction because they've also succumbed to the synagogue of Satan, just like the Catholics have. The Catholics, Catholicism, also the synagogue of Satan. Thank you, Shane. Yeah, that's a good point. The moon also exalts in Venus. That's another connection that links the lone star Venus and the crescent. Can be the crescent moon and crescent Venus. But the Lone Star. So the Order of the Lone Star becomes the Knights of the Golden Circle. When the Civil War ends, the Knights of the Golden Circle become the KKK, which means Ku Klux Klan. What does Ku Klux mean? People act like these words are just normal words that we hear all the time. No one ever asks what that means.
Sounds like a chicken.
Klux. Chickens cluck. That's a good point. Ku Klux means circle. It's the same root as saying cycle. Cyclical. Instead of a soft C, we're going with a hard K. So kuklos is the same as saying cyclo. Cyclops, cyclical. It's the same root. And in Greek, the Y, or what we write as a Y, was very often translated or written as a U, or vice versa. So the Y and the U swap between Greek and English very often. So kuklos is just saying cycle or circle. It's just a way of saying circle. So they became, the Knights of the Golden Circle became the Knights of the Circle, or the Knights of the Circle clan. That's what they became.
How does one go about joining this organization? Do they have lodges or something, or is it like somebody who's in it and they invite you?
You just asked how you joined the KKK.
Yeah, I'm curious. Are people openly in that? I'm serious. Are people openly in it? Because if you're in it, you would be a racist, right? I mean, that's the whole.
Well, there's
asking for a friend.
City. Yeah, there's this city that I forget the name, where it's called I forget the name. It's like a short little city name. Someone's gonna know in the chat.
It's Florida?
No, it's not in Florida. It's like Arkansas or something. There's this little town where they have like the most KKK people.
Damn it, Ricans aren't
anywhere.
Allowed.
And whatever. Oh well.
You want to see my face? I'll show you my face, and they take something.
Here, we got to set up. We got to set this up. Set this back up for Colonel Sanders. So we're getting to Colonel Sanders here. We're explaining why Colonel Sanders is here in this movie and how we're going from the Lone Star to Colonel Sanders. Well, the Order of the Lone Star became the KGC. KGC, after the Civil War, became the KKK, Ku Klux Klan, Ku Klux meaning circle, Knights of the Circle Klan. Why do they wear the hoods? Why are their hoods pointy? Because all they did was put white cloth over their helmets that they used to wear in the Knights of the Golden Circle, which had a pointy tip. So the sheets just kind of cloaked their previous attire of the last, the last society. This was a secret society too. You had to be initiated into, like the Freemasons. Like I said, they would venerate a crescent as like a item of almost worship, and that was part of their initiation and rituals. They had hidden handshakes, special grips, codes. They were very, very interested in code breaking, code working, and sending codes to each other. So the KKK came out of the KGC. Nobody talks about that. Nobody likes to talk about that. The KKK, of course, they were kind of respectable for a time, right? They were kind of, you could show your face and admit to being in the Klan for a time, and then that kind of went away too, right? They had to go underground again too. Well, in one of the biggest movies, one of the earliest movies ever, to my knowledge, that was like a big, big movie, was called Birth of a Nation. And it was a movie glorifying the KKK, which we don't condone any of this. We look down on all of this. This is pure comedy, education.
Hate everyone equally.
We love everyone. We love everything, no matter what. Everything, no matter what. And yeah, YouTube, we love you guys. So please be nice to us. But what was I talking about?
That they went underground, and then is this
The
why
movie.
maybe they took out Abraham Lincoln because
the
he wanted
movie?
No, I meant you mentioned a movie about the KKK. The other one,
Oh,
not
yeah.
the Waterboy.
That's like when you're like, hey, what do you want to eat? Food. thought you were saying like this movie. But yeah, the KKK movie was called Birth of a Nation. And in that movie, it's kind of what it birthed the fried chicken stereotype, or at least it solidified it in the minds of Americans. The fried chicken stereotype, right? In that movie, which, like I said, glorifies the KKK, when it came out, it had a very positive reception. It made thousands of people literally go join the KKK overnight. And in that movie, there's a scene where there's like a whole auditorium or like cafeteria full of African Americans, Black Americans, and they are just macking on fried chicken. I mean, macking on fried chicken. And they're like, making all these funny faces and stuff. And that's kind of what did it. That from then on, it just became the most stereotyped food there is for Black Americans. And if that movie hadn't come out, it would not be such a big thing. I mean, let's be real. Do they like fried chicken that much? I don't think so. Not that much. So that movie started the fried chicken thing. From then on, fried chicken, racism, fried chicken, KKK, right? Where am I going with this? Well, the KGC, remember they became the KKK to kind of escape scrutiny, escape accountability for what they were involved in with before. Well, the KKK has to go underground again too. Persona non grata, right? So what do? They rebrand again, but now they're not just, this is where we're kind of venturing off into conspiracy theory territory. Everything I said up until now is pretty much documented in the the mainstream history of the KGC. They were involved in Lincoln's assassination. They were involved in all these things. I should have said this too. Almost every flag in the Southeast and so many flags in the Caribbean and Mexico, South America, still pay homage to the KGC. The KGC, with their lone star and crescent, are represented in the flags of South Carolina, the flags of Cuba to this very day, Puerto Rico. Let's say that let's catch people up a little bit more. What was the KGC's big goal? The KGC, not only were they a especially Luciferian sect of Freemasonry, they were the Freemasons of the South, and their grand idea was not, they wanted to avoid a civil war with America, with the North, and they wanted to go south instead. So instead of warring with the North, they wanted the South to just move farther south, the Confederacy to move farther south, take over Mexico, take over Central America, take over the Caribbean, and as much of South America as they could too. Believe it or not, they were really successful with that. They were really successful with that up until the end of the Civil War. And the Civil War kind of made them stop their plans and focus on fighting the North. Because once the Civil War started, they kind of stopped becoming a expeditionary force, and they started being more of a like SS, Secret Service, Gestapo, Templars. They were almost like the Templars of the South too. Almost all of the higher up officers in the Confederacy had to be members of the KGC. So most of the Southern leadership, here's something that people really don't know about that knocked my socks off. Was it Buchanan? Who's the president before Lincoln?
Yeah, I think we've asked this before. Can't remember.
Buchanan, James Buchanan. Okay. All of the Buchanan, his cabinet, James Buchanan's cabinet, every single member except for James Buchanan was in the KGC. That's pretty crazy. The entire president's cabinet, right before Lincoln comes to power, you can kind of see why they wanted to take him out, right? So James Buchanan, then we get Lincoln. Lincoln gets assassinated. When that happened, they became disgraced, right? Even in the South, people didn't like that they resorted to assassination, regardless of, again, whether it was staged, whatever, psyop, who knows. I think Lincoln died. I think most of us agree on that. They still became disgraced, and even the South kind of rejected them a little bit, so they, like I said, rebranded. But their original goal was to take over South America, Central America, the Caribbean. They were successful. They did a thing called filibustering, where they would, we say filibuster today, like that guy with the chip in his brain who did all the guy from the Key and Peele skits who just did the 25-hour speech in Congress. Yeah,
Cory Booker, yeah.
Cory Booker, more like Cory microchip in his brain.
25 hours of filibuster?
Get out. Yeah. Yeah. This is what I think connects those two words is the Confederacy back then were filibustering, and the filibustering 150 years ago meant getting a bunch of soldiers and taking over a Central American or South American country in order to implement this like Order of the Lone Star type government. And Cory Booker, show of oranges in the chat. Who thinks this is the Key and Peele guy? Because no, Juan, this is hilarious. who are the Key and Peele guys? You got Keegan Michael Key, who looks just like that guy, just like him. And then you have Jordan Peele, who is a comedian turned horror movie director who makes movies about Black people having chips in their brains, brain surgery, consciousness swapping, taking a white person's consciousness, an old white person, and putting it into the body of a young Black man. Maybe I'm fucking schizophrenic, but I think this guy is totally, he is a vegetarian. Seth, you know this? He is a vegan. We'll give him that. You know this? I don't think a flesh eater could have stayed up 25 hours shouting.
Flesh eater.
Corpse addict. Corpse cruncher. Human sarcophagus. But yeah, he is a vegan, so we'll give him that. Okay, he does have those vegan superpowers. But I do think the Brazilians were working his brain like a fucking remote control. And maybe, who knows? He wasn't saying anything important, but
he's a Taurus too.
I just think it's really interesting. Hang on. No.
What?
Wait. What? Is that true? Is that true?
What
Can
the
we
hell's
look this up?
Yeah, hold on.
I think he's Brazilian too. He spoke Hebrew. Did you know that he spoke Hebrew during his 25-hour speech? You guys know this? He spoke Hebrew.
So I confirmed with AI, and AI says that yes, drag icon RuPaul and politician Cory Booker are DNA cousins. A fact discovered through their participation in PBS show Finding Your Roots. This revelation was made on an episode of Finding Your Roots where RuPaul's DNA was compared to Booker's, revealing a familial connection.
We're going to see a lot. We're going to see a lot more connections between politicians and transgenderism this year, and just we were already seeing it.
Jesus, help these people, please. Oh yeah, let's get one good look at them. Yeah, hey, Doc, I could have saved you some fucking time on that DNA test. I could. How do we know they're not the same person? How do we know Keegan Michael Key's not playing both of them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yikes.
What do you think, Seth? Get Out? Did they get out his brain?
Wait, so what's Booker? You said he had put something in his brain?
They put Bernie Sanders' consciousness in his brain. You haven't heard about this?
What are you talking about?
They got the Negro Tech online. The Fenton reactors are active. Okay.
All right, dude.
No,
lay off.
If anybody
lay off whatever
seen,
you're smoking before you jump on the stream, dude.
There's another wild movie. Is the newer Manchurian Candidate is pretty wild.
Same.
And I think it's a combination. I think these modern politicians that we're seeing, it's a combination of being chemically, induced and also physically implanted and potentially transplanted as well.
Yeah, somebody said, "What temp are you taking your dabs at?"
666.
Oh man,
smoking that magic. But no, come on. These are niche references. If you don't get them, you're probably faking gay. So,
hey.
But here, we'll get back to the movie in like a half hour or so. But no, we got to set this up. The people need to know why Colonel Sanders is such a big kind of topic in itself. Did you know that in the 1980s, Colonel Sanders was the second most recognizable person in the world behind Jesus? Second most recognizable person in the world. What's up with that?
You're not that culturally relevant unless you are shaping the culture. And just serving fried chicken isn't necessarily shaping the culture. But if there was something deeper to it, which there is, potentially the shaping of consciousness and the shaping programming of humans and certain populations, then yeah, this is where
It's
that's
the new
going.
McUltra, McChicken, and McDouble, and Mc whatever else. It's the new control that they have over people, and they willingly show up and they eat the coleslaw and they have a great time, and they don't see anything wrong with it, right?
Dude, I just realized when you said that, it just made me think of Michelob Ultra. What the fuck? People are
Yeah.
literally sipping on MK Ultra, liquid MK Ultra.
Coom juice, yeah, dude. That's the whole thing with beer, right? According to the box art.
Well, yeah. Hey guys, for all our beer drinkers out there, according to the Bach Saga, an old Finnish Atlantean, origin story, beer, the original yeast bug used in beer is
A coom shot.
a cum shot from a dude.
That was the secret again, and Colonel Sanders with a secret recipe. You wonder what it is, all these spices. Well, there's one in there you're not gonna get because it came directly from the man himself.
The White Duke.
Yeah, exactly. So, I'm sure, again, we talked about Edward Scissorhands last week and things that they do to food to have control over people. In this movie, also, the dad left the mom for what she called a witch, a voodoo priestess or something or other. So, again, it's kind of connected there with the whole McUltra and the Manchurian Candidate and food and all these things. So,
And
it makes you wonder. Yeah, and it makes you wonder how his mom probably had control over him for so long, and she's making all this weird shit. Or like she's making snake. Who eats a snake for dinner or baby alligators for a barbecue? Who does that?
Well, that's
right?
the theory is that KFC was not created to serve good food. It's a bunch of ex-slave masters, slaveholders. This is the theory that KGC, the Knights of the Golden Circle, who were some of the most slave-owning people in the South, they became the KKK, and then the people who were once fans of the KKK and the KGC ended up creating the fast food industry. The chains of slavery became the fast food chains.
Yikes.
The masters became the CEOs of these fast food companies. Okay? And this isn't just like a crazy reach just to focus on Colonel Sanders. Colonel Sanders, number one, the dude's born on 9/9/90. Flip that upside down. 666.
Illuminati confirmed.
Now that'll explain why he's number 2 behind Jesus.
Yikes.
Suck it, Satan. You're always going to be number 2. But Colonel Sanders thinks, I don't know what he is, if he thinks he's a holy figure or what. People have likened him to the devil, the White Duke. He's always in white. He only dressed in white in public for like the last 30 years of his life.
Very witch doctory.
Isn't that crazy?
Or also, you're dropping bits of body parts in hot scalding oil too.
Yeah.
It's kind of hellish.
Flesh. You flesh enjoyers.
Yeah. Well, the conspiracy is that it's not just chicken in there. That they discard leftover pieces. If it's fried up and battered, you're not going to know the fucking difference. If there's not a bone in there, you're not going to know what shape it was to start off with,
Yeah.
And people claim, we can look this up. We can spend as much time on this as we need to. You know how many people have claimed to have found non-chicken body parts in their food? It happens all the time, and it's frequently KFC. Okay? We all know about them finding horse meat and stuff like that in McDonald's here and there in the past. God knows they find human DNA in this stuff here and there
it's
too.
An urban legend, bro. Come on, man. That's what Wikipedia says.
Did I tell you what I think is in the McRib? I think
No.
I think the McRib contains. I don't know how to exactly say this.
Say it.
Well, let's say there was a business to remove certain pieces of skin off certain body parts, and
Okay.
then they just needed something to do with that, and they fed it back into a system whereby people ingested those things, and you became a cannibal, basically, tacitly. And I think it's the McRib for two reasons. One is the rib of man,
Yeah.
Mhm.
right? Like that's where woman comes from. Splits
Yeah.
like split off from the human to like create more. And the other reason is because I just heard from a friend, someone had told him who was high level up that that is the system that goes down. Now I can't verify any of that, but it as a gut feeling, it makes a lot of sense. Not to mention, what is it? Well, Saturn is the eater of his children, but doesn't
Yeah.
Mick means child of. So when you're eating McDonald's, especially if someone named Donald were to eat McDonald's, it'd be that person eating the child of.
Wow.
I'll tell you what,
Good.
McRibs are delicious. So keep feeding them to me because they're good, man.
You love
Good.
that homunk. You love that
The homunk meat, bro.
Mick homunculus.
Yeah, that
The
mystery meat.
McGunk. McGunculus. But no,
Yo,
they're
real
yeah.
quick to the KGC because you didn't hit on this yet, but correct me if I'm wrong. They wanted to headquarter in Cuba, didn't they?
Yes. And they were successful to this day. This tells you who's really in charge. How many revolutions has Cuba had since the KGC went over there and did take over for a short time? They funded KGC funded the leadership of Cuba and toppled their government and put in KGC affiliated leaders in Cuba. And no matter what, doesn't matter. The Batista revolution in like the 40s or 50s and then or later 60, I don't know, 60s, 50s, 60s, around there. So Batista, he did his own revolution before Castro and them. They took over Cuba, right? They had a revolution. Or he came to power, right? Then Castro comes along, and that's a big revolution. Okay? Bloody conflicts, battles. They just, they can't stand the people that came before them. They're willing to kill and tiny little island. I mean, it's a big island, but still. All that fighting and revolution and change and extreme change, and they still have a Lone Star flag to this day. Yeah, not much changed. Okay, the flag tells you everything. If they were radical, why didn't they come up with a new flag? You know what I mean? They still have a Lone Star flag to this day. Puerto Rico, Cuba, one or two Central and South American countries, and like I said, states in the South. If you go all across America, they didn't just have support in the South. They had tons of support across the North too. And they were castles. So instead of having lodges like Masons, they had castles, right? And the castles, that's where we get White Castle. Yep, good comment. Thank you. My friend Brandon pointed that out to me. He told me to watch that movie. I did. It's true.
Wow.
You know how many movies they point this out? Putting people in the food or drugs or nanotech.
Snowpiercer
And
too.
then
The bugs.
And this is part of the agenda. So if they can't enslave people with chains, they enslave you with the fast food chains. And look at it one of two different ways. Either you're eating the slave food, the goyslop, or you're working there and you are quite literally still a slave. And I hate to say it, but we all know like it seems like the majority of fast food workers are black, it seems like, or, minority, you could say.
Yep.
It certainly seems that way, with the exception of Chick-fil-A, of course. They've always got a nice, clean crew back there. Nice,
Kind of
clean,
creepy. It's kind of creepy.
nice. Yeah, that's very like Jordan Peele type of thing.
A lot of people say that's God's food, but it's got as many bad things as anything else. You know, it's not any better.
Yeah.
But again, the propaganda, oh, it's Christian. So therefore, people are like, yeah, here we go. And it's got the same things in it as any other establishment.
You want to know what I think too? The Chick-fil-A also ties into the KGC. The KGC, their symbol was the crescent. I think that crescent's not only Venus, it also symbolizes the Gulf of Mexico, because the golden
Of
circle,
America.
the golden circle that they're talking about was the Gulf of Mexico. That was their golden circle of influence, right? And they wanted the headquarters to be in Cuba, like Juan said. Well, their plans didn't go as planned, right? You could say that Donald Trump's trying to reawaken this kind of this like drive to acquire more territory, unite North America, but whatever. So how does this get us to Colonel Sanders? Colonel Sanders, born 9990, upside down, that's 666. He had a epiphany and a total reset of his life around the age of 66. Who else did that? John D. Rockefeller also had a similar epiphany and reset at the age of 66. Now, part of that has to do with 65 being the, conventional age of retirement. But another side of it is, of course, the numerology. If you're into the occult, 33 and 66 certainly means something to you. We can't ignore that, right? And look at his fucking birthday. 999 upside down, 666. Colonel Sanders was not only a Freemason, he was a Master Mason and a Shriner. He went to the pyramids of Giza on the back of a camel,
Did he really? Holy shit.
Yeah. Go
Dude,
ahead. What's up?
I have to interrupt. I can't believe no one's dropped
Nope.
this yet. Do you know what
Go
Adam
for it.
Sandler's birthday is?
Oh God, is it 9990?
He's a
Dude, it's
Virgo, right?
9966.
Whoa, that's creepy, bro.
Can I get up?
Whoa. Damn.
Dude.
Getting too close to the truth, bro.
Adam
I looked that up
Sandler.
earlier. You were saying 99. I'm like, okay, Virgo, and I'm like, Adam Sandler's a Virgo too. I think he was born in 99.
And they say it in the movie. He says he
Yeah,
doesn't
he's a
like
Virgo.
confrontation. In the movie, he
Whoa.
drops that. He says, "I don't like confrontation because I'm a Virgo." And his mom says, "That astronomy's from the devil, boy. Don't you be getting into that."
And Virgos are known for their intellect, and this movie's all about that. Maybe not intellect, but ability to like
Tap
digest
into
and
it.
process information. And
Yeah.
this movie's all about that, and it ties into the fast food as far as one of the key principles to controlling a large population is you want them to not know that they're under control, that they're being programmed, manipulated. You want them to love their chains, love their oppression. So eating food that's super addictive and like stimulating and tastes good, but it's so subversive. And everybody listening, you know what I mean? Start to wean yourself off of the fast food if you haven't. They're coming at you from the inside and getting the
for me.
physical, the mental, and the emotional and spiritual all in one. So just be careful out there.
Bro, what? What?
You're so funny. Funny.
More McRibs for me, dude.
Yeah. The Mick foreskin. the extra chewy. Dude, the McRib is so chewy. It's like,
Dude, it's delicious, man.
oh my god.
I'll eat one on air next week just for you guys.
Please. Yeah, till it comes out your nose. Get 2 of them.
9966.
That's wild.
Good call. Yeah. Good job, Seth. That's crazy. So Colonel Sanders and Adam Sandler, fucking tongue twister. Bernie Sanders, Adam Sandler, fucking whatever. Same birthday. So interesting they bring him up.
Dude, look up Bernie Sanders.
What happened?
His
No.
birthday is September 8th. Bernie
Oh,
Sanders,
shit.
September 8th.
Day before.
They're all
Damn.
Sanders, Sandler, and Sanders.
Fuck, dude.
Are-
The Illuminati's pumping these dudes out of the same cabbage patch.
Fucking homunculus hole, bro. They're just pumping these motherfuckers out.
Dude, I am tripping right now.
While we're on Google, can you
Oh
find
my
a
gosh.
picture of
No.
Colonel Sanders in his fez? Actually, I have it right here. I have it AI enhanced, actually.
AI what? AI enhanced. Oh, look at him on the camel.
It's a grainy photo. I mirrored it because it wasn't that big, but it's supposed to just be half of that.
Have they made
But
any
I ran-
movies of Colonel Sanders? Like I think they have, right? Like the founding of KFC and all that.
I don't know.
Huh.
I don't know. We gotta get into that. But he was a Shriner. There's him in his Shriner attire. You see how he had the white bow tie, the bolo tie, whatever you call that thing. They call it a Kentucky Colonel tie. I think they call it, or something like that. But he would wear that, and sometimes he would wear one that was literally stiffened into the shape of pie. Does that make sense? Like the
Mhm.
pie symbol, like it looks almost like kind of pie right now, but he had one that was stiffened or shaped into the pie symbol, and you can see pictures of him with that one on too sometimes.
Which represents the circle.
Good point. Great point. The pie. Yep. It's like the yeah.
Knights of the
It's
circle.
equation to determine, right? The
Yeah, the radius and circumference
Circumference?
has a pi relationship. Yeah.
right. So he was a Shriner. He was a Freemason. And he is one of the first big figures in fast food as we know it. Now, his protege, Colonel Sanders' protege, was a guy by the name of Dave Thomas. Dave Thomas is the founder of Wendy's. Wendy never existed. His daughter or granddaughter, I forget, her name's Melinda. Not Wendy. Doesn't have Wendy in her name. Now, some people say she was redheaded. Maybe she was redheaded when she was younger. She's blonde now. And her name's not Wendy. What does Wendy mean? White. Wendy means white something. White something. What does Wendigo mean? Wendy's to go, guys. In the to go line, Wendigo. What does Wendigo mean? Cannibal spirit. It's the dark entity that plagues you when you eat human flesh. Native
There's also the
American
word-
folk.
That's a Native American folk tale. The Wendigo.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it even has the word end in her name. The word end.
Right.
I might be
Right.
reaching.
Wendigo. Can you hit us up with the? Can we get a Wikipedia on that, Juan, please?
No.
Thanks, McRib. McRibbit.
Oh, hold on. Here we go.
Wendigo. Mythological creature of an or evil spirit
Algonquin.
origin. Yeah. The concept of the Wendigo has been widely used in literature. Okay. The Wendigo, guys, you cannot make this up, okay? You cannot make this up. The KFC, KGC, that's pretty damning. This is as damning as it gets, okay? Wendigo is a cannibal spirit.
And Wendigo psychosis is an actual
Okay.
condition
Dude.
where you crave McRibs. I want to eat them.
They're feeding you humans 100%. They're admitting it, and God lets them do it because this is how they manufacture consent.
Yo,
If they're
check
telling
this
you they're
out.
doing it.
You know how Wendy's got the square burgers?
Yeah.
Wendy's got square patties. So that ties into this circle, Knights of the Golden Circle. The circle is God's shape because it's just natural.
Right.
The circle is natural. The square is human shape because it contains right angles, which don't really exist in nature. So
Yeah.
they're encoding the shape of the human in the patty. Not the
Yeah,
shape
that's
of the
also
human, but the representation.
no, it
of
is. They call that squaring the circle in Freemasonry and in secret, occult circles. Squaring the circle. The square patty on the round bun is quite literally squaring the circle. And then the Vitruvian man, you slipped up, but you actually made a good point, which was that is what the Vitruvian man is encased in, is a circle and a square. He's inside the circle and the square. So it is kind of the measurement of man in a way too.
And it's interesting that in alchemy, right, the Philosopher's Stone, some people have speculated that you need like a human to create it, like a human life, right? And here in this Michael Meyer plate, you have the squaring of the circle, and of course it shows two people, right? Got the square patty and the circle in there, and how you guys are saying, and it's got people in it, so maybe it's kind of alluding to that of, hey, the secret sauce. It's not a coom shot. Well, maybe it's that and other things, but it's also like a actual human person, right?
Yeah. Man, guys, we don't have enough time to go as deep as I want on the whole fast food conspiracy, but we do have a red-headed antagonist, chubby, overweight, white-skinned, red-headed antagonist in the form of Bobby's mom, who might be a tip of the hat to Wendy's, maybe not, who knows. But the Colonel Sanders is definitely Colonel Sanders. I mean, that's Colonel Sanders, the professor in this movie. So Colonel Sanders, why did we give that whole backstory on Colonel Sanders and KGC, KFC? Also, the KGC was obsessed with K's, obsessed with the letter K. Why? Because it's the 11th letter. 3 times 11 is 33. That's where you get your K, K, K. 33, 11, 11, 11. It's also the 3 stars in the Tennessee flag, I believe. Same thing. Okay. Same thing. The 3 and you can go on and on. But the K's in all the fast food chains. Think about all the K's in the fast food. Drop a comment of all the K's that you can think of. Crystal,
Krispy Kreme, Crystal,
Krispy Kreme, Kmart, Circle K. Dr. Kellogg was his own thing, but Kellogg, Special K, it's big
how about
red K all over the place.
7-Eleven?
7-Eleven, exactly. G is the 7th letter. Sorry. Yeah, G is the 7th letter, which is the Masons' number 1 letter, right? G. And then 11 is the Knights of the Golden Circle's favorite number, the KKK. So 7-Eleven, exactly. That's another. The Quick Stop. Why is Quick Stop always with a K?
Chick-fil-A.
You've got,
even though it's a K,
Chick-fil-A.
it's CHIK.
Yeah. Krabby Patty. Thank you.
Dude, I just drove a bunch of Florida this past week, and you pass the gas stations. What's the name of the pizza place that's in all the gas stations? You know the name of it off the top of your head?
CC's?
It's the Hunt Brothers.
Well, what about CC's 33, C&C?
It's 33 right there, but I'm talking. I was noticing all these Hunt Brothers. If you go to any gas station, that's the pizza that they sell there. And
right.
I mean, the word hunt, we're talking about eating humans. Come on.
Yeah.
What's Bussy's hiding, bro? We got 2 E's in there. Flip them.
Yeah.
It's 33.
No, for real, yeah. The double E's and Bucky's, 100%.
Bussy's, bro.
Oh, they should have 2 C's in there too. Boosie's, yeah, that's super
it's
weird.
It's Bussy's, dude. Say it right.
Yeah. Oh, yes. And then Krusty the Clown, Killer Clown from Outer Space. They spell that with 2 K's too. So
Which they're coming out with a new one, right? The new Killer Clown. You sent me a DM.
Yeah. And there's a McDonald's is famous for their clown. And
wait, one more thing about McDonald's.
What else?
The arches, right? if you just
33.
spin that, it becomes a golden circle.
Yeah.
If you just spin the arches like this, it's like an ellipse, which is a circle viewed from the side, and it's
Sound like a
golden.
fucking schizo, bro. Jesus.
Yep.
I'm just-
No, it's true. It's a 3. It's a 33. It's also the arches of masonry, royal arches, but it's also you can lock it in and make a circle. That would turn it into what we call a golden corral, perhaps a golden circle. Knights of the Golden Circle. Come on, guys. Come on. It's too easy. And then we're just going off names with those too and letters. If you go off logos, they all have lone stars or golden circles in their logos. All of them. Popeyes, Lone Star. It's all of them. Okay, what's the other? Hardee's, Lone Star. Thank you very much. I've got a
Hardee's
whole-
or hard?
Thank you. Yep. Hardee's or hard R's, guys.
And ease. There you go. Ease. Turn it around. 33. Oh.
Illuminati confirmed.
I've got a whole video on that. We could talk all night about the fast food stuff. It's impossible to fit it all in, but it's important because it sets up the Colonel Sanders conversation. Can you go to the scene where Colonel Sanders is in the classroom, please, Juan? So,
And it also, it just ties into the whole thing about intellect and programming the masses to be dumb.
yeah, Seth, you want to tell the people what you brought up to me about phrenology, and he's talking about the brain and kind of the racial undertone subtext going on here.
Yeah, so I just noticed the Colonel Sanders character, and I was like, well, that's really interesting. All the symbolism packed in right off the bat. But then he's a phrenology teacher. He's teaching biology. He's teaching skull and brain anatomy and physiology. And
Right.
so that to me just rang insane bells. You got the Southern Colonel Sanders type, who we already know through your past work is so tied into not just programming the masses, but like controlling them and keeping them in servitude, I guess, in the chains. So when we're studying the brain science, the medulla oblongata, why are the alligators so ornery? Why are they so angry all the time? Why do they have a short temper? And those are questions that I think KGC people might be asking each other about, sub the word crocodile for some other race of people. What makes them so angry? How do we pacify them? How can we subdue them? What can we put in the water? What can we put in the food to make these people just chemically fall in line and not act out? Or conversely, you can sort of engineer the football team to be as aggressive and ornery as possible. So I think that's an element of that too, where they're studying how can we just breed these like super soldier, super quick, super violent, and aggressive linebackers and stuff so we can win. And dude, when I was watching this movie, it also reminded me of the episode of South Park where Cartman, he goes to get NFL or the football players with just like a total slave owner vibe. He's like, I see you have some young men over here for sale or whatever.
Student athletes.
Exactly. So the old white Southern people trying to like engineer the team in a way is one way to look at it. The other way is kind of how to engineer the masses to be sick, dumb, retarded. Like all the characters in this movie are just like dumb and have been programmed that way.
Yeah. Here we've got the student athletes. I grew up on South Park. I know a lot of y'all did too. This episode, looking like going off my memory, you thought the same thing too, and my brother I think thought the same thing.
Comedy Central.
So many of us confused this episode with the KFC episode where he becomes like a drug lord. The KFC episode is like drawing from Scarface, right? This one is it's the crack baby, which is also kind of a racial, conversation a little bit.
Typical suspects.
treating crack babies a certain way, but it's the Crack Baby Association, which maybe we can link deformities and birth defects to fast food and KFC, but KFC goes hand in hand with like the Scarface episode, and then this episode, it's very similar. He's almost acting like Colonel Sanders, and I could have sworn that he was like dressed up like Colonel Sanders in this one too, because he's doing the whole Southern thing. But who knows? He kind of is a little bit Colonel Sandersy with he's got the tie, the necktie, and the like white hat, but it's not very overt. He's just a Southern gentleman. Now, I should have said too, the KGC, Knights of the Golden Circle, they're founded in Kentucky. Started in Kentucky. So Kentucky Fried Chicken, they sell fried chicken. Not very healthy. They're a fast food place. But when they're invited to things like the Olympics, they rebrand themselves on the world stage as KGC. Who knew this? Did you guys know this? Internationally, KFC at events and things like that, all, I don't want to say always, but at things like the Olympics, they call themselves KGC. Maybe that's like a subtle gaslighting too. I don't know, but they switch up. Oh, we're Kentucky Fried Chicken. We sell comfort food. Finger looking good. And then when they're the KGC, they're like, our food meets all the nutritional requirements that athletes may need, and in their hard. It's like, come on, bro. But we all know it's not healthy. But they turn into KGC because they're tipping their hat to the KGC. So you can see KFC drinks, KFC, containers. To this day, they print them with KGC here and there. So you can get a KFC cup that has KGC on it. Come on, people. It's case closed. It's case closed. But going back to this, he's talking about phrenology. He's talking about brain shapes. And, Seth pointed it out to me that you can kind of maybe even replace the word alligator. This might be the subtext that they're trying to get people's subconscious mind to think about. Maybe the creators of this movie are racist. I've got a little bit of some Easter eggs that might kind of support that. Either maybe Adam Sandler's not a racist, but maybe there's some racism in the writer's room, in the Hollywood room, that they're pumping into this movie, and some of the actors don't even know it, Nonetheless, this Colonel Sanders guy, you can replace the word alligator with black person or African American, and you'll get a whole nother meaning. Because then he's like Colonel Sanders justifying the bad treatment of a certain race of people based off of their inferior brain shape, or whatever you want to call it, whatever argument he's making. He's saying alligators, get off my property, you goddamn alligators. You fucking get to the front of the bus, you goddamn alligator. Or back of the bus.
Wasn't it?
Back of the, yeah, sorry. But that's the idea, is if you swap out alligator, he's kind of being very honest without being honest. And the alligator, they're saying, oh yeah, the alligators, they're violent. They're jealous. What are the words written behind his head? Jealous, angry, and something like that. Doesn't take much imagination. Anger, aggression.
Jealousy.
Yeah, how to manipulate emotions of other people.
Yeah. Public aggressions, crash outs, chimp outs. I said it. Okay.
Now,
people
there's a common way to manipulate somebody is through their diet. And we see a lot of examples of animal eating in the movie. So like the mom, obviously we talked about that. She's always grilling up snakes or squirrels or snakes, frogs, or whatever. the Rob Schneider character too. He's eating a rabbit at one point from like the belly, like the whole rabbit.
Raw.
And he's depicted in like this tiny shed. He's like depicted as kind of this dumb Southern hobo kind of guy
Townie.
living in the bio townie. Yeah. And the mom's very anti-intellectual. She forbids him to go to school to learn. And I just found it interesting that the very anti-intellectual kind of like people who represent not aspiring to higher knowledge, they're the ones that are serving up the animals.
You know what else I just thought of? Oh fuck, I think I forgot about it. What was the last scene? Can you go back to the last scene? Please.
At the end?
What was the last scene like the one that you were just previously showing?
This?
All right, just let me think. Sorry.
Or before this? Is when he unlocks the superpower.
Well, then he tackles Colonel Sanders.
Yeah, then he tackles Colonel Sanders.
And then from the whole rest of
he's
the movie,
scared
Colonel
of him.
Sanders is like scared of him. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, are we gonna take the amphibian and something test? Like, yeah, if you'd like.
Send my regards to your sweet mama.
Yeah. Is Longo okay?
I'm trying to think, dude.
That McRib kicking in, dude.
His MK Ultra programming froze.
He's glitching out, bro. Look at him.
I just had gold. Make sure to put it back on me. Put it back on me. Make sure to leave room for the Holy Ghost.
The fuck, dude?
You never see that video?
No.
Al Roker go full Get Out, full microchip meltdown.
No.
You've never seen that?
Never seen that, dude.
Damn. All right. Well, we got to watch that now.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen this before. It's like Cardi B or like what's the other, Katy Perry.
Yeah, they glitch out.
They glitch out. Yeah, I've seen that. They do like some weird shit on air. This is the guy you're talking about here.
Yeah,
I've seen that video.
Make sure to, like we always said in Catholic school, make sure to leave room for the holy like fucking.
Then you go on a 25-hour speech.
Yeah. Dude, there was something I wanted to say about eating reptiles or something like that.
Sorry to cut you off.
No, dude.
Well, because they used to feed like the Spartan army meat to make them more aggressive. It's a known thing. You feed people flesh, all the protein breakdown, the sulfur and the blood makes people more aggressive, kind of stimulates you.
Would you say you get like a sort of high off of eating meat?
Yeah. That's why people think that they need it, and that's why they feel bad after trying to withdraw from it for a couple days. People make pretty quick conclusions hastily by saying, "Oh, it didn't work for me. I need my meat." But you were just going through withdrawals.
It's rabies, Juan. It's rabidity.
Yeah.
Okay. In ancient times, they said meat. The ancient philosophers said meat gave you rabia. I love a good
burger, dude.
Rabia made you vicious, and they feed the Marines a lot of pork. They feed cops a lot of pork. All the companies that give police officers big discounts and have contracts with police departments, sheriff's offices are pork heavy restaurants. They want cops eating pork, and God knows what's in that cop water. The fucking police department water cooler.
Holy call them pigs too, right?
Yeah.
And where did Jesus cast the demons to? Into the
and
swine.
They're always, and what do cops always eat? Krispy Kreme.
Yeah.
Dunkin' with a K. Dunkin' spelt like fucking Adam Sandler wrote it. Dunkin'. What's up, girl? It's 11 o'clock. You trying to party? What's up, girl?
All right, let's continue here. So, where we're gonna get to the end of this movie or not? He's talking to the ball, which, by the way, a football is pigskin, right? It's I've heard it called a yoni wrapped in pigskin, and they
Yes,
do
that's true.
again world rituals. This is one of the most popular sports in the world, and there's a scene where the coach is kind of sitting on it, talking to the ball, and Adam Sandler's character is like, "Bro, what's he doing?" He's like, "Oh yeah, he'll get over. He's going through a tough time." So these dudes are, how Seth had said, like mental cases. They're all traumatized out, right? And then we have the I compared this relationship to like the Forrest Gump relationship, where he is kind of, I don't want to be mean, but intellectually a little bit lower on the spectrum, and then he has like this, I wouldn't call her hot, but more attractive woman, right, for his
Yeah.
sort of league. And in this movie, they kind of leaned on that too, where she is decently looking, right, for this guy who is obviously, a 30-something-year-old virgin. He'd never seen boobies before,
Yeah.
right?
It's okay.
Never had a first kiss.
It's okay, Juan. We know you're married. I'll say what you can't. She's smoking hot. Okay. Early
okay.
adolescent. She's actually disgusting now if you look at her.
Really?
Don't even look. No, don't even look.
I'm
It'll
gonna
ruin it
look.
for you.
I'm
But when
gonna
I
look.
was younger, dude, and in the movie,
Oh
uh
Jesus.
the mom calls her Jezebel, which
Yeah.
I thought was funny because Christians like to call like seductive problematic women Jezebel spirits, like they're you know
Looking a little
infected
rough.
infected with the Jezebel energy. And but yeah, she's kind of gothic in real life and in the movie. She has this dark vibe about her. She has
She's
the
been in other
tattoo.
movies too, right? What other movies has she been in?
Yeah.
The tattoo, though, it's very symbolic, especially for this movie. It's the chalice. It's the alchemical symbol for water.
Dude, I just remembered what I forgot about. Juan, can you search gator bait into Google, please? And this
Gator bait?
gator bait. Yeah, just search gator bait.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't a real Floridian if you don't know what gator bait is, boy.
I
Come
don't.
on. Come on, get that gator bait in the water. Yeah, boy.
What do you want me to look up? There's some stuff that came up. We have the
Show of oranges in
football.
the chat. Who knows what gator bait is? Come on, my brothers. Who knows what gator bait is? So gator bait is what people in the South used to call YouTube. We're trying to be on our best behavior tonight, but gator bait is what Southerners used to call black kids.
Yikes.
Because according to them and their bigoted ways, that's all they were good for was gator bait.
Oh,
So
shit. Hold on.
a
The hell was that?
it was a very common. What was that? What popped up?
Oh, I thought that it was some chick with a dick. I'm like, what is that? But it's like her shirt is unbuttoned a little bit, and her torso looked like it was weird looking for a second. I freaked out.
Don't worry, Juan. You scrubbed that search history nice and good.
Oh, dude, my search history is fucked, bro.
Before we went live.
One time I had my window open and I had looked up, I was talking about crop circles, and I looked up hedgehogs mating,
Oh,
and
God.
my wife walked in and the window was open. I had to explain to her why I was looking up hedgehogs mating.
Right.
It was a little weird, okay?
Almost as weird as when you made her write homunculus on her forehead.
No.
When
What?
you made her get homunculus tattooed on her back.
No. She doesn't even know how to spell homunculus. She doesn't give a shit about any of this stuff.
That's good. But so
All
gator
right.
bait, that's the connection between saying gator but really meaning like black people, right? He's like, oh, the gators are angry because their brain is the medulla oblongata is enlarged, and he's really talking about African Americans, but I don't know.
Oh, it's a racial slur. Wow.
Yeah. Gator bait.
Yikes. Okay. Well, you learn something new every day, huh?
So that might be the connection that Colonel Sanders is. And guys, who's heard the rumors about Colonel Sanders and KFC? Have you guys heard the rumors? Can you just search Juan? If
What?
you just search Colonel Sanders KKK, you'll get a ton of results. There's a popular rumor. They even call it popular legend. you
Papa
know?
John's.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Papa John, who has my birthday, talk about birthday sync-ups. Papa John has my birthday right before or the day after Seth's birthday, too. Papa John called out Colonel Sanders, said he was a racist. And that was, due to long-time rumors that Colonel Sanders took money from the KKK, that he donated to the KKK. Different versions of the story. But he was in the Freemasons, he was a Master Mason, and he was in the Shriners. So, yeah, Papa Longo. They call me Papa Longo.
And he was just projecting because then remember he got like canceled for.
No, that was the same call. He got framed. He got set up.
Oh, he got framed.
Yeah, he got framed.
Defending Papa John's founder, dude.
No, he got
that
framed.
Slimy looking guy, bro. Greasy as fuck looking dude.
Papa John's got a good heart. And if you don't think so, you can go eat some fucking Puerto Rican pizza for all I care.
Papa John's, bro. Let's take a look at this guy. So you think he was framed?
Definitely framed.
This dude doesn't even look human, bro. Look at him. Look at that. You can't tell me this guy's not racist, dude. That was legit.
He's Italian. They're all racist, okay? Have you ever heard an Italian talk? Have you ever heard Quentin Tarantino talk for 5 minutes?
Oh, well, true. Yeah, he's got a lot of racist stuff in his movies.
He did get set up, though, because he was saying things in a hypothetical scenario, and then they clipped them and put them out to make it sound like he was, presenting his own opinion. He was saying stuff like that. Colonel Sanders said, beep, said the N-word, and then they use that and say, oh, look, he said the N-word. No, trust me, look, I've looked into it enough to feel like he got shafted.
Oh, wait, not this. This is the movie. Where the hell is it? Hold on. The Papa John's founder says he's trying to get rid of the N-word in his vocabulary.
He's trying. It's an everyday struggle.
Oh man.
He's going to AA. He's got a token for 1 year. No slip ups.
He's sober. N-word sober for however long. That was 4 years ago too, by the way.
Dude. That's savage.
All right, one more thing about Bonnie Blue here real quick. I wanted to bring up that I didn't bring up at the beginning. Check out what her fiance had said. Only Fangs, Bonnie Blue has 19-year-old boyfriend. Her holes are for everyone, but her heart is mine.
This is fake.
Fucking idiot, dude.
This is fake.
It's that cuck culture, dude. That's what they want these dudes doing there. Her holes are for everyone, but her heart is mine.
Thank God we got that in. Thank God we fit that in.
The people need to know. Oh man. Yeah, my search history's cooked, dude. I'm cooked. I'm on my internet service provider's like list 100%. We're not saying racist things.
Juan's Puerto Rican. Juan's Puerto Rican.
Listen, I never sent in my DNA to 23andMe so they wouldn't make a homunculus out of me. And I wanted to find out where I'm from, but I never sent it in. But I'm sure there's some black in there, African American in there, somewhere along my tainted bloodline. Again, Puerto Rican. I got indigenous and Spaniard, and so I'm sure there's some stuff in there, so it's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, Seth is awfully quiet. Doesn't want to be associated with this.
That's okay.
All right, so
Well-
here we are again. The hot chick, dumb kind of guy. It reminded me of Forrest Gump,
Yeah.
which is kind of like this. Not,
Yep.
I wouldn't call it the same, but
Skanks love using retards. Let's call it what it is. Skanks are attracted to the helpless.
yeah. So here they are eating. So she's got a tattoo there. What is that? A triangle. They're talking about astrology. She's talking, I think, about palm reading. And in the movie, he said that he was a Virgo. But what was interesting was that the cupbearer is help me out, Longo. The cupbearer
Aquarius.
is Aquarius.
Yeah.
And again, the water boy is kind of sort of like a cupbearer. He's
Well,
very
yeah, and the inverted triangle means water, so like that refers
Oh.
to a few different of the signs. I guess the water signs. But it's the element of water right there. And it's blue too. And that's the actress has that tattoo. It's not even the character's tattoo. That's the
Right.
actress actually has that.
Good point.
Again, she's kind of witchy, right? I mean, she's goth, right? They're into that sort of stuff. She's an astrologer. How Adam Sandler's character says. There she is. And they're eating baby alligators. So kind of how you were saying, this alligator bait, maybe.
They cloned Tyrone. They cloned these little mini mutant alligator babies for dinner. Barbecue.
she-
Also, barbecuing.
Oh, barbecue. Yes, barbecue is.
An ancient Floridian ceremony. Not only done to animals. Guess what, guys? Pocahontas saved John Smith in Virginia. Nope. That story was hijacked, plagiarized from Florida. It actually happened to a gentleman by the name of Juan Ortiz,
Uh-oh.
and he didn't just get rescued from getting beat up. That dude was getting barbecued alive. Barbecued alive.
You're
And
barbecued right now.
the Florida version of Pocahontas, she saved him from getting barbecued. She saved him 3 times. Once from getting apocalyptoed, where they, run from the arrows. Second time from getting barbecued in a human sacrifice ritual. That's right. The word barbecue is a native Floridian word. And it originally referred to the wooden scaffolding that they would cook meat on. But it wasn't just the scaffolding they cooked meat on, it was the scaffolding they would commit, burnt offerings, human sacrifices on too. It was also the name of the scaffolding that they put their dead on. Barbecue. So they're barbecuing, and they say the word barbecue. Also, this is a reach, but she's got a donkey that sleeps in the house.
I was going to say the weird assortment of animals that they have, right? So they have the donkey.
Yeah.
They have, what else did they have? Well, they have animals up on the walls, but yeah, it was really weird. Here she takes a bite of the head of the alligator. We got the barbecue sauce and everything there, so.
Well, so social engineers see humans as animals. And when they're thinking about how to program masses of humans, they call them dogs, they call them cattle, and it just goes right into this whole like engineering.
Here's another one, the frog muffins or whatever they are. He gives it to this guy. It was like
frog muffins.
Yeah, it was like frog muffins or cupcakes or something.
Yeah.
And then here he runs into Colonel Sanders again, which is he fucked him up and he's terrified of him. And he's like, yeah, send, regards to your mom.
You know what's kind of messed up though? Okay. Maybe I'm reaching here. Maybe I'm a sick puppy. Okay. The dude's got panda eyes. Adam Sandler didn't hit him in the face. He gave him a chest shot. He like speared him right in the chest, knocked him down. He's also coming down from the upstairs of a frat party.
Yep.
What the
Weird.
hell? Colonel Sanders is upstairs at a frat party, and he's coming down, and then Adam Sandler scares him, and he goes back upstairs. What's Colonel Sanders doing upstairs at the frat party, guys? Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
It's like when Stanley Kubrick puts a guy in a road, and like the car is about to hit him, but then the scene changes and there's nothing that indicates an accident happened. Your mind puts 2 and 2 together. You know what I mean? Your subconscious mind puts 2 and 2 together. You might not be thinking about where he is, but your subconscious mind is thinking, why is Colonel Sanders upstairs at the frat party with all the kids? Okay, who knows? Whatever. But Colonel Sanders, we spent a lot of time talking about. There's one clip that we got to watch. Just to the point. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was gonna say there's a lot of numerology, and even the color, the way they program color in this movie is really interesting.
Who was Adrena? Was there actually a person named Adrena in this movie, or is that a joke? I wouldn't put it past them. I've got a friend with the last name Kroom, and I always joke that he should name his daughter Adriana or Adrena, like whatever. But yeah, he's got the panda eyes. Panda Express, they're not safe, people. Just because you think they're, I don't know, just teasing. But so, is there an Adrena or an Adrian in the movie?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think
His mom's name was Helen.
Good point. Someone's just joking, but his mom does have red hair. Yeah.
And
Okay,
so the colors, like the other thing that's red is Vicky's lips. She wears bright red lipstick, and I saw that kind of stick out.
Right.
Because she's the seductress, she's the muse, she's the divine feminine, even with the tattoo of the sacred feminine chalice. And so, but the red hair is also another interesting one, as it alludes to the whole fast food Wendy's thing. Also, the whole movie's about the stolen playbook, and that's green. And there's this cool shot where it's black and white, it's a flashback, but the book is like glowing green. And you'll see the other coach kind of hugging it, because that's the playbook that he stole from the Henry Winkler character back in the day, and that's where his trauma comes from. And so that's like the green thing in the movie. And then the blue thing is, the water, that Alaskan glacier water that some Eskimo shaman filled for him, and it's always cold, and it glows blue, and it brings him back to life at the end of the movie. I thought that was symbolic as being just like the blue thing. And then the orange is their team jerseys. This is like very orange. And so I kind of like how each color had its own little pocket carved out for it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that, I guess we got to talk about the end of the movie here. We're going to be finishing up soon. Juan's away, but so what happens in the movie is Adam Sandler's character, he's really good at football. They find out. He ends up turning the team around. They get a winning record, and they go to a bowl game. The Bourbon Bowl, I think, right? What they call it.
Yeah.
And that's, a big achievement, but he gets exposed as being homeschooled. He lied about going to high school, so he's not eligible to play. He gets exposed. Then they decide, the NCAA says, if you pass the GED test, you can play. You'll be eligible. So he has to pass the test. He ends up standing up to his mom. Oh, also that scene's really weird, where the skanks at the frat house.
Oh yeah.
He's talking about like banging his mom and his dad at like his mom and coach at the same time. And she's like, tell me more and shit like that. Super creepy. Yeah. A lot of racism coding, a lot of incest coding going on, and things like that. But she steals a car. She shows him her tits. All this stuff.
Oh, the glacier water.
Yeah. But yeah, Seth pointed out that on the scoreboard at one point it's 3 versus 3, right?
Yeah, it was. They were gridlocked at 3. It was
There's a
3-3.
couple of those. Yeah, there was one that was 3-3. There's one that was 7-7, and or no, it was 3-3, fourth down, fourth quarter, and it basically said 7-7-7 across the. If you did the reductions, the numerical reductions, it was 7-7-7 right there. And then there was another scoreboard that showed 7-7, and so that's the 77, and which is 11 times 7. 11 is the godly number because it multiplies. It kind of has a doubling power. 11 times any number is that number twice, and L means God.
Right. Yeah.
And the jerseys, Elvin. The jerseys had a lot of numerology. His number's 9, which 9 can be seen as a number of things, but
It's also 3-3-3, which,
mm-hmm.
6.
And then there's a scene where dude is he takes out his cup and gives it to another player, and he puts the cup in.
Oh, that was at the beginning.
And one of his numbers is 9. The other number is it either made 93. It made some significant number. It either made 911 or 93.
Yeah, that was at the very beginning, like showing how, I guess, poor their university is or college or whatever, where they can't even afford to. They have no helmets, right? I mean, the other guy has to share his helmet with him.
Can we? Okay, so he passes the exam. But his mom doesn't want to let him play. But he finally stands up to his mom, and right after he stands up to his mom kind of fakes a not an illness, like an injury, like a medical emergency, and we get kind of indicators that she's been faking medical emergencies for sympathy,
Yep.
to rob him of his youth and of his energy and his, privacy, to kind of get him to stay with her for so much of his life. And whatever. She goes, I guess she's in the hospital here. He's in the hospital. The whole city comes, all these people come. They convince him to come out and play and, do what's important to him. Whatever. Doesn't really matter. We talked about the most important part. Colonel Sanders comes back, of course, dressed even more like Colonel Sanders with the
Here's the part where he's eating what? This dude got another dude
it's
in
right
his-
there. It's in between those.
Yeah, the townie guy. He's eating what'd you say, a raccoon?
It's a rabbit.
Yeah.
You got the donkey. This isn't the hotel room. He made the hotel room like his house.
The hospital room.
Sorry, the hospital room. All the people, right, come out. This guy comes out.
Can we pause on this guy? Now, Juan, you remember we were doing what movie was Clive? Not Clive. Oh fuck, what's his name? Ron Howard. Howard. This is Ron Howard's brother. You know that one?
Oh, really?
Yeah. And we forgot to include him. And all the people in the chat were screaming, "Look at Ron Howard's brother." And we never did. We finished the episode and I didn't catch it till later. People were trying to show us Flint Howard. Because we were talking.
Skull shape, dude. That's
Yeah, dude. Talk about phrenology. We were looking at Ron Howard. We were roasting Ron Howard, saying he looks like an artificial humanoid. And then he's got a brother over here who looks like he's from the fucking Andromeda galaxy.
Quasimodo.
This guy looks like his skin suit is on 2 sizes too small. Okay.
Oh, look at him as a kid, bro. What?
Oh, he was terrifying as a kid. He was a kid actor too. I think he played like.
I mean, obviously because of his brother getting him in there, right? Because otherwise,
Yeah. Dude, his brother's terrifying.
Dude, and in this movie, he plays a really dumb character. He it's overplayed how dumb he is. He keeps saying these things to show how dumb he is, and then even when he gives that speech where you pause when they're trying to get him, when they're trying to get
was this guy too?
Bobby to
What?
play.
Oh,
him.
is that who played him?
I think
Dude.
is he
played
Star
the Jew?
Trek?
He played the Jew in Star Wars.
No, it's Star Trek, dude.
Star Trek. Sorry, same thing. No,
Dude,
way.
here in this scene, he goes.
Oh, he did, bro. He actually plays in it. He played this, and then he played that alien looking
He
thing.
He played the Brazilian dude in Star Trek. No
with
way.
a misshapen head.
Got that dickhead going on, bro. Look at that.
Dude, he's the merchant species.
Is he? I've never
Yeah.
seen Star Trek.
Star Trek. They're like the traders. They're like the merchant race who like is super like conniving kind of.
Yeah.
The money traders.
Yeah, they're like super greedy. They say, yeah, dude, Star Trek is kind of based when you get down to it. Their like whole philosophy is like they have a religion off money. These people, they're like, it is our, it's sacred to multiply money. That's like what they say in Star Trek.
$5.
My dad watched it when I was growing up. Love Star Trek. I don't like Star Trek, but yeah.
But do you love it or not?
I don't like Star Trek. No, I was more of a Star Wars guy.
Yeah,
My dad.
That Clint Howard character, he says right there, he says, the Lord chose not to bless me with a fully functional brain.
Mm-hmm.
And so that huge red or just a flag, because it's all about the brain. This movie is all about the brain to me.
Yeah.
Intellect.
And what's on her shirt? He says that in this scene right here.
Oh, Saturn.
Yeah.
What's on her shirt? What Lord do you think he's talking about?
Yeah.
The white and black Saturn on her shirt.
That black cube.
And she's
and then he gropes her too, I think.
Does he?
Right there. Yeah, right there.
She's Vicky Valancourt. Or is she Vicky Villancourt? The villain,
Oh, the devil, right? I mean, that's the whole
Yeah.
point.
Yes, exactly. But that guy's sketchy as hell. One of the ugliest human beings to ever be alive, ever. Clint Howard, good on you, buddy.
Oh, yeah, he does. He was like crying, and then he like moves his hand down.
He clenches a little.
creep.
Yeah, nasty.
I wonder if that
Nasty.
was improvised or not. Can you imagine? All right, what else we got? We got his mom. She was faking it the whole time. He wakes up. She shows him the true history of his dad, right? Where he changed his name and then hooked up with a voodoo witch or something or other. And he was selling lemonade for a while. And that goes on. And then we had the final game, which he wasn't going to go to, but they ride there on an airboat, which was weird. And then he gets there and kind of sort of saves the day again. Typical underdog, last minute shows up. They win the game.
Yeah.
Happy ending, right?
Also, there's kind of when the coach got his notebook, his playbook taken from him, he says it. He says, "I had my manhood taken away from me."
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And you see him on a disconnected phone later, like venting about it in the past. He's got a phone. Dude, hang on. Pause. What's up with that dude's face?
That looks
Well,
weird.
He visualizes him as a little baby because
Oh,
they start
yeah.
doing this
Okay.
meditation visualization thing, which is present throughout the whole movie, which was weird, but it's about putting yourself in a certain state of mind. So he starts visualizing him as like a a redheaded baby, and then he's like, "Oh, little baby," right? To like,
Fucker.
which was weird. But yeah, he kind of looked demonic there for a second, right?
Dude,
At the beginning
Adam,
there.
fucking Waterboy's got state of the art fucking CGI, and we've got Marvel over here making cartoon explosions that my fucking retarded cousin could pay a chimpanzee to program better. Okay. Marvel movies, the CGI they're using today is so cheap and bullshit.
Yeah, looks
Probably all
terrible.
AI generated for like the last 10 years.
Here
So
he
that's
goes
some
again with
NASA stuff.
the dog head.
This was 1998.
Yeah,
Dude. They like didn't even have computers that you could like edit on like that. It's like the CGI is so fucking good. Whatever. But anything else, boys? Anything else
No.
super important? Feel like needs to
No,
get
I
in
think-
there.
I think that's it.
I've-
We got the
I've got a little something. Can you show a picture of the guy who makes fun of him the most, who's actually his friend in real life? I think it's that guy.
guy who makes fun of him the most. That's his friend. What do you mean?
He's like, hey, Needle Dick.
Oh,
Dick.
Needle
Yeah,
Dick.
that
Dick.
guy.
Yeah, that guy. Peter Dante. His name is something like that. His last name's Dante. He played lacrosse. That's how I know him. He was a lacrosse coach.
This guy.
Yeah. He's like the most famous guy to ever play lacrosse.
Oh, really? Oh, he was in
In
Big Daddy
Hollywood.
too, Mr. D. See, they got
He's
like
in
this
all of
clique.
Adam Sandler's movies.
Chuck
well,
and Larry, Little
show
Nicky.
Show people him. This Peter Dante guy. Dante, devil, I don't know. Maybe nothing. But
Number 12, right? 12 disciples.
yeah. So Peter Dante, you want to see a little something? You know what the first thing that came up when I searched Waterboy racist?
Oh God.
Him. You want to see it?
Really?
This might corroborate. Sorry. Whoops.
Cocaine's a hell of a
Cocaine.
drug.
Cocaine is a hell of a
I
drug.
love when he's like explaining to him, like, hey, what'd you do to like, your technique or whatever? He starts talking, he goes, that's why you don't do crack or whatever. The guy was doing like a seminar or something.
So this is the little Easter egg at the end. This is the little cherry on top, y'all. Okay.
Guy from
Adam
Waterboy.
Sandler, Busta Rhymes, Suge Knight. Three guys all coming together to beat the living crap out of a black hotel staffer.
Hang on. Got to put us in front of this.
What an annoying voice.
It's TMZ, dude.
At least according to this guy.
My you.
Well, aren't you just a
Oh,
peach?
shit.
But yes, that guy is Peter Dante. And if he looks familiar, it's because he's in all those Adam Sandler movies. Grandma's Boy, The Water Boy. Yeah, he was kind of a and turns out he's a in real life, too.
So he was actually kicked out of an LA hotel this week after going off on a black hotel staffer.
N-bombs, F-bombs, violent threats, the works. And why?
He was apparently mad they didn't recognize him.
Yeah, according to the hotel incident report, Dante told the staffer, N-word, do you know who I am? I'm a black belt and you're a black person. I will f you up. But hang on, because Dante says he's not a racist. In fact, he's going to list all of his black friends for us.
I
That
know
was
what
one
you're
of my
doing
best
as a T.I. one of my boys. Ask Marcus can be about me.
Anytime you have to prove you're not a racist, you're a racist. There was a Latino parking valet attendant, and he said, hey, Mexican, we don't need you.
Oh my God.
And the
Hey, I
threat to
mean-
racist stunts, Dante threatened to have Suge Knight, Busta Rhymes, and Adam Sandler come to a staffer's house and him up.
What's Adam Sandler going to do?
Don't know, that act him to death? Okay, so we covered black people, Mexican people, who did we forget? Oh, gay people.
So after this guy spends literally 3.5 minutes trying to plead his case about why he's a loving, caring, tolerant person, he goes,
I'm worried about Harvey Levin. My you.
Did he say, and I know Adam Lambert, and I know Lance Bass, and I know, did he do that?
No, he hates gay people, and blacks, and Mexicans,
Is
and
he
probably
drunk?
everyone. Thanks, Adam Sandler. He's your problem now.
He looks homeless, but I mean, think about it. A
Dude,
rich
he's-
dude who's a dick. I mean, and racist. Who
He's-
would have thought?
No, guys, you're missing the point. Okay, they're missing the point. You're missing the point. He just is a lacrosse player. Okay, we all act like this. Okay, we're
Oh,
all
yeah.
just entitled, arrogant. douche. But yeah, he's a lax bro. He's a total lax bro.
Yikes. Well, I know that about lax bros, dude. Good to know.
A little bit, not really, but no, lax bros are chill. He's more of a Hollywood guy, I'd say.
Yeah, just some rich asshole.
Yeah, and who lives in Delray? Does he live in Delray? I know that Adam Sandler's always in Boca Raton, Florida, like almost every other Brazilian in America. But Peter Dante, okay, he says he lives in Delray too. Interesting. Shout out to Rustin. But yeah, that's it. So is there some evidence that at least one cast member, integral cast member, this isn't just a guy who was in one Adam Sandler movie. This is the guy who's in every Adam Sandler movie. This is the guy who we wouldn't know about him at all if he wasn't friends with Adam Sandler. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
Does Adam Sandler and his whole production crew hold similar beliefs? I don't know. I'm not casting stones that aren't also destined for me too, because that guy seemed pretty based. I don't know. Maybe me and him would be friends. But
man.
No, I'm just kidding.
And the question I have too is like, let's say there was no conspiracy to even code fast food or Colonel Sanders in that way about the social control aspect. What if it was all synchromistic, and the fact that they even have the same birthdays just makes him tap into that energy, and then in his random comedy pulls it out of his brain, and it ends up lining up with all these themes in life. He might not have been even thinking about it. That's kind of one end of the spectrum of like being innocent to this type of conspiracy stuff. Mm-hmm. The other end would be like, oh, it's all a conspiracy, it's all planned, and all is symbolic. But I think it does lie somewhere in between that, where there's probably some synchromistic element of just by nature of them having similar birthdays, like similar energies are going to be coming up.
Yeah. What's the chick's birthday?
Well, she alluded she might be a Sagittarius in the movie.
Yeah, but I think she's a Gemini in real life. May 21st.
Taurus? Is it Taurus? Oh, yeah,
it could
Taurus.
It could be Taurus.
It's Taurus Gemini cusp, dude. It's May 21st. I remember this. I looked it up because it's right
May
opposite
21st,
our birthdays.
Yeah.
It's right opposite our birthdays.
Bull, Taurus, Gemini cusp is the bullseye. Bull, Taurus, eye, Gemini. The gem in eye. Gem of your eye. But, all right, guys. I think that covers everything for the Waterboy. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Thanks to Juan for joining us, as always. Catch us next Thursday. Thanks to the special guest, Seth Balin, for, sounding the alarm on Colonel Sanders and the Waterboy. Mm-hmm. But thanks to all you for tuning in. Here, let's read I'll read these. We got a new member, Lino from Reno. Thanks to you. John Sup at the $5. Love you, Longo. Do a live IQ test sometime without laughing. I've got a Mensa IQ. I got the paperwork. Got the paperwork to prove it, sucker. John Bernasconi, $9.99. Appreciate that. Wojo with the $5. The recipe for making holy water. You burn the hell out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Dickie Goodman, $4.99. Wild lettuce. Callie 305 with the $1.99. Krusty Krab. Krusty the Nephilim clown. Yep. Good point. Okay. That's it.
If people should go check out my I got a new YouTube channel. And if
Yeah.
people like some of this symbolism breakdown, I decoded the first episode of The Sopranos. I did The Sopranos decoded and through the lens of health, radical health. So the channel's called The School of Unlearning. So if anybody wants to check out The School of Unlearning, I got a bunch more videos coming up. We got an episode with Dr. Longo on there. I interviewed him for the Radical Health show.
Shell, yeah. Here, let's get that up on screen. Guys, go subscribe to the School of Unlearning. Hell yeah.
Nice. Love lychee.
Radical Health podcast. But and Juan on Juan podcast, of course. You guys know where to find him too. We'll go check that out. Here, guys, follow suit. Boom. Go hit One on One podcast, y'all. Make sure you're subbed up on my boys.
Appreciate you. See you guys next week.
Everyone have a good night. Peace.
Peace out, y'all. Later.
Later.